What? It's the Magical Butter Radio.
Dabbing on them. What up, dog?
How you doing, Dalton?
We back. We live.
We're live. It's 7:10. We're dabbing on them. Magical Butter style. How are you guys doing today? It's a beautiful Tuesday. This is the Magical Butter Radio Show 2018.
We're live. Yeah, this is the most traditional show we've done in a little while. We've had some other shows happening on Tuesday, and we haven't been behind the radio desk in a couple weeks. So
feels good to be back.
Feels good to be back. Yes, I'm happy to be in the radio chair.
We've got a special guest in the building. Our man Rob Gargiulo. We'll bring him up here in a little bit. Get crazy, talk about some fun stuff.
Man, autocorrect was messing with his name there. I don't know if that's how you spell his name, but it was not working out when I was typing it into the document.
He's cool. I think he's used to that.
Yeah. Rob Gargiulo.
We'll get it eventually.
Yeah, we love Rob.
We love everybody.
We love everybody.
You guys.
We love all of our viewers.
Thank you for
all of our
tuning
Twitch
in.
Fans.
This is a very special episode. It is 7/10, July 10th, 2018.
It is 7/10.
And 7/10, for those of you that don't know, is like, it's sort of like a new age version of 420, right? It's like,
it's the 420 for oil, and like it is because when you turn
710
upside down,
you get the word
you
oil.
get the word oil, which nobody can probably see out there.
So that was like a little bit of an underground lingo in the beginning. If you were looking for oil or trying to call it something without people knowing what it is, you would call it 710.
710.
And I believe one of our first, thank you very much, our first company phone numbers had the digit 710 in it.
That's pretty cool. That's what the studio extension is, to dial into that phone over there. It's 710.
Your extension. Yeah. So if you guys call our hotline and you're trying to get a hold of Dalton or the video crew, their extension to the studio is 710.
It's 710.
So that's pretty cool.
Yep. So we've had fun with all those little 420s and 710s, and then like you had the hat the other day, was from the high school where 420 was founded from, like all these little things we used to represent.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. It's
I saw an oil sticker like that on the stop sign, like right around the corner.
It's everywhere.
Like somebody just like saw the stop sign here in Florida and like decided to just slap a sticker on it. So
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Welcome, guys, to the Magical Butter Radio Show.
Stay lubricated.
This is going to be an exciting episode. We're live as always. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're listening on the iTunes network, make sure you guys subscribe to
the Magical Butter Podcast.
Yeah.
On the iTunes network. Yep, we're available there.
It's so cool because I have the podcast app, of course, and I follow a few different podcasts, but to now see the Magical Butter Podcast incorporated in my list of series is really exciting.
Super exciting. Like, we're so happy to be up there. You can get to that online if you go to MagicalButter.com/podcasts as well. You can view them there.
I think we missed the radio show last week.
We did miss the radio show last week because it was Canada Day. Last Tuesday was our big Canada Day show.
And what a success that was.
What a success. Like the group of Canadians we had down, the guys from Spartan Wellness, Riyad Bine, Matt, Chef Cody Lindsay, everyone in the building was great. Devin Larad, Corey, like amazing. Everybody. It was such a great group of guys that we got to spend our 4th of July with, and they were Canadian veterans.
It was amazing. I hope you guys got to tune into that show. If not, make sure you go check it out on our Facebook or YouTube. A lot of good segments on there from, highlighting how to decarboxylate, how to grow your own cannabis, how to create fully extracted cannabis oil, and then also
how to create FICO.
How to cook with it, And Spartan Wellness is a group of veterans. They're providing information for all veterans and showing them how easy it is to integrate cannabis into your daily life.
Yeah, it was truly awesome. They're really, really interesting guys. It was cool getting to hear about what the difference is between the U.S. and Canada, because we all know like the anecdotal differences, like the aboots and the and the A's.
A little bit of the dialect and things.
The dialect, but how truly different a country it is.
And how the Canadian government has just fully gotten behind the patients and the people there, and they've acknowledged that cannabis is definitely a source of wellness for so many people.
Medical cannabis is covered under Canada's medical care system. Their healthcare system covers cannabis, which our healthcare system hasn't even begun to talk about or think about yet. Like we're still very far off from that.
And I'm hoping that, the conversations are starting, right?
It's good, yeah, no, it's good too. It starts with veterans. Like, that's where, like, they're supplied a stipend every year or every month to a certain amount per day that the U.S. government allows the veterans to use.
Yeah, I think originally they were allowed up to 10 grams per day.
Yes.
And that number kind of got out of whack. There was some, little bit of debate there. I think they've reduced it down to 3 grams per day.
Interesting. Yeah,
but I don't know if that's enough,
Yeah, 3 grams a day. I don't know if it's enough. 10 grams a day.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe. Now, it's for people with different health issues as well.
Exactly.
Like I'm talking from personal response there. 3 grams a day you could survive on. I feel like.
But if you're like using that to create other forms of medicine, like if you were using a FICO or an oil, like maybe the 3 grams a day wouldn't meet your minimum requirement.
No, it probably wouldn't. Yeah, if you were trying to make a concentrated fluid out of it or something like that, it probably wouldn't. And then how is it dispensed? Is it only dispensed like 3 grams at a time, or do you go down there and get your week supply?
That's a good. I think it's like a reimbursement.
Oh, okay.
So you're allotted a certain amount that they'll reimburse you for. So you buy your own. And
oh, that's a pretty good system.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really nice system.
So you guys, like we said, the show's on the Apple Podcast Network, iTunes. Make sure you guys check us out, subscribe. If you're on Twitch, hit us with the love, the emotes. Make sure you guys are subscribing. The bits.
We're going to have some special things happening for our bidders today. I'm going to be watching the Twitch thing, and bidders are going to be getting some love.
There's a ton,
Don't know what yet.
of Magical Butter giveaways going on due to the 7/10 holiday. So we're going to be announcing all those channels today and let you guys know where you can go follow and check out for a chance to win some Magical Butter products. We're also going to be doing a bunch of giveaways today. As always, you have a chance to win a Magical Butter machine, but we also have some cool little accessories from some of our friends. We got the MJ Arsenal mini rig here, bubbler, little mini bubbler dab rig, and we also have from Dab Art. It's wax molds that we're gonna be talking a little bit about this.
When we show that thing off, I'm gonna get a close up of it because that thing there is actually pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Like that's it. Never seen it before, at least. We've been in the cannabis industry for a while. We go to all of the shows. It's so cool when you see something that's like, well, that's innovative.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen that one out there yet.
So we'll be highlighting these gifts and giving you guys a chance to win. We got hashtags, shares, all the different deals coming up. So make sure you guys tune into that. Dalton, how was your weekend, bro? Did you get to relax a little bit?
My weekend was great. Yeah, last week, it being 4th of July, we had a big shoot on 4th of July over on Davis Island, and then so this weekend I got off a little off work early on Friday. Mm-hmm. Left about noon, went and met my buddy down in Sarasota. We got a boat. We went boating all weekend.
I think I saw some snaps. You were out on the water, bro.
Yeah, we were out on the water kicking it. Like it was good.
Nothing like that, man.
Yeah, the girl drove down and met me down there on Friday night. It was best weekend I could imagine.
Were you guys doing some fishing or?
Yeah, we did a little bit of fishing. I only saw one fish get caught. Yeah, DJ pulled up like just a little guy.
It's more about just kicking it and having
just being out on the water, getting some sun, driving the boat around, like checking out nature. Like, yeah, it's nice.
Good times. Mm-hmm. Good times. Gotta love it.
So much fun. We woke up and did it the next day. We're like, let's just keep it going.
2 days in a row.
2 days in a row.
That's why. That's what the weekends are for, man.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be actually up in Canada this past weekend, Ottawa. We flew in. I was with Garen. We went into Toronto, had several meetings in the city there.
Nice.
And drove up to the capital city there, of Ontario, Ottawa. It was like.
So Ottawa's the capital city of Ontario?
Of all of Canada.
Of all of it, of the whole thing.
It's like their DC.
Okay.
So all the, the parliament and the beautiful government buildings there. And we went up there to actually do a tour of the Tweed facility.
Yeah, you guys were at the largest cannabis grow in the world, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what was it like going to the world's largest cannabis grower? You've seen them elsewhere. And I know we've seen, 100 plant grows. We've seen several 100 plant grows, things like that. This one's totally different. This is something like new.
So we've had the privilege of, being in the cannabis space since the beginning here in the States, 2012 Magical Butter launched, and I remember back when we first started, we would go out west to Colorado and Washington and do tours of some of the grows, and back then it was still a new thing, and there weren't so many, I guess, standards or SOPs established in the construction of these grow rooms, right?
Yeah, that's...
And quickly you saw technology catching up and the money. Really, once the growers started getting the money, they were able to build out these laboratory-grade facilities.
Versus like some, we've seen a few facilities that were put together.
Look like a garage, or something that might be,
Which, like, as many of our growing fans out there know, you can grow it just about anywhere,
Right.
So, but with these larger companies taking over, it's really getting the medicine narrowed down and more medical and more scientific and all that kind of thing, rather than just guesswork and nutrients getting mixed together.
Absolutely. I mean, to be considered a medicine, there's all types of standards and things that the plant has to meet. So Tweed is top-notch, state-of-the-art facility.
Yeah.
You disrobe, you have to wear laboratory coats, you have to wear, hair nets.
On the tour, is that what, did they
Yep.
put you in the whole deal for the tour? That's pretty
just
cool.
for the tour.
Yeah.
You have to respect a certain safety distance between all the different rooms. They have cloning rooms and vegging rooms, and flowering rooms. But Tweed took over the old Hershey chocolate factory.
Okay.
So if you can imagine what a chocolate factory would look like, and then they converted that to be a cannabis factory.
Wow.
And it truly is. It's amazing. So
wow, it's like Willy Wonka's cannabis factory.
Just like that.
That's pretty cool.
They were even able to repurpose some of the old equipment. They had large tanks that hold water that was at the old Hershey factory. So they're still housing water there. So they're using the same old tanks.
That's super cool.
Really cool.
What a great trip. Did they allow much filming inside or anything like that? Or did they lock that down?
There was like choice areas where you could film and take photographs, and there was other areas where that was restricted.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was neat, but I mean, in Tweed's defense, they want to show people the right way, and they are definitely
No, that's not a public tour you went on, or was it? Is that something that...
This was a private tour.
Okay.
But what they're getting set up for, because I guess at one point at the Hershey factory, families would go there and you could do a self-guided tour of the whole factory and learn about chocolate, and at the end of the tour you'd be able to buy, like when they would make the chocolate bars, some of them get messed up. And so instead of letting that messed up chocolate go to waste, and nothing's wrong with it really, it just has maybe a blemish or a chip on it. So you could buy the damaged chocolate by the pound, and that was a huge revenue source for Hershey.
Nice.
And so what their dream is at Tweed is to allow families and people to come there, receive an education on cannabis cultivation, and walk through, and hopefully maybe one day be able to exit through the gift shop and buy some whole flower for yourself. That would probably be like, that's the equivalent of going to a brewery and doing it. Like that's something a lot of breweries will do too. You go through, you do the tour, and then like the tasting room at the end, like, and here's where you get to try all the different things that we're creating in here. So you get to like really indulge in what you enjoy, like getting to see the whole process, like, seeds, clones, plants, drying, like the whole process that gets it into our joints that we love smoking. I mean, it's no different than going on going to a winery or maybe a distillery. So yeah, cannabis grows. Soon people will be able to go there and learn and see it, and hopefully, depending where you live, you'll be able to grow your own.
How many plants were there at Tweed? Did they say like currently we have 1 billion plants or 2 million square feet, or it's okay if you don't really remember?
Yeah, I don't really remember, but I know that there was a weird estimation, like based on the square footage you have. So if you have 70,000 square feet of grow, then each 1,000 square feet, I believe, will bring in a ton of cannabis.
Okay, yeah. So they're capable of doing 70 tons or however much.
And I think at that point they start going by kilos. And I was just like, one thing that was super cool.
2.2 pounds a kilo.
One thing that was super cool, they have a vault. Like there's like different levels and standards of security when it comes to vaults. So there's like level 3 that you might see at your local banks and things, or level 7 that might be at more of a government facility. I think the highest grade vault you can have is a level 10, and the vault that's at Tweed is level 9.
Wow.
So, steel roofs, thick concrete walls, like blast-proof room.
Yeah, the maximum security.
They opened it up, let us get a little peek, and I'm talking about floor to ceiling. There's big tubs that are holding bulk amount of flour, and then there's smaller tubs that have individual. Everything has been categorized, everything's been barcoded, labeled, accounted for. Every milligram that goes in is weighed, and every milligram that goes out is measured as well.
And then, so do they put that into a dispensary from there? Is that what happens next? So it's in the vault, and then eventually somebody purchases, quantity of it, like a dispensary or something like that, or?
So there are dispensaries that locally you can go purchase flour, and they do supply, but their main source of shipping it out is through the mail. And the Canadian Post Service.
Yeah, I think I remember the Canadians talking about that. Is that's how they receive their cannabis, is through the mail, and not illegally. They receive it through the mail through a legitimate service that ships them their cannabis.
There's actually benefits, and it's like it's incentivized to get it shipped to you. It's so yeah, you order it online, you place an order, and if you make your order to Tweed by 3 p.m., it'll be delivered to your house by 5 p.m.
Wow.
Same day service.
Same day service. In that area, just in Ottawa? Or?
Locally,
same day.
Within Ottawa.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's like Amazon style.
Bro.
Like if you got the Amazon factory down the street, they can get it there that same day.
It's that's a pretty efficient system, So, great times up there. Very amazing people. Got to go to Quebec.
Nice.
And so cannabis is not so friendly there, but
that's the French side, right?
Actually had a little issue, got caught smoking some cannabis at the casino.
Ooh, were you in the casinos just smoking the cannabis
outside
at a bar? Okay.
We were outside in the parking lot, kind of being careless. I was with a group of Canadians, so they made me feel like it was no big deal.
Yeah, they're like
whatever, right? So we light up, and then on casinos they have their own security team.
Yeah.
Generally, they have their own small police force.
And cameras and all that stuff.
High security.
They saw you way before you saw them.
And the lady, she came up, she was very polite. Oh, look at this, little computer. Thanks, playa.
No problem.
Appreciate that. Very polite. She asked us kindly to, not do that. And we abided, but we also made sure to let her know that we were all cannabis patients. And that did help. She said, well, in that case, in the future...
That'll keep her from calling the police.
In the future, just go a little further away from the building.
Yeah.
So, very friendly, very polite.
Well, that's cool. That's not too bad of a thing to run into. We've had good interactions with enforcement lately. Everything
Speaking of
goes
that,
really well.
I went on a bike ride last night.
Okay.
Late last night.
Yeah, you just got that new kicking badass bike.
Yeah. So I got this new bike and everything, and last night I'm on my way home. I took a shortcut to get to my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through the little county park there, and I guess it closes after dark. I didn't even really think of that. But, I'm riding through. I got my disco lights and everything so people can see me. And here comes a police officer with his sirens on, and he came and pulled me over, and I was already through the gate, and so the bike can fit through the gate, but the vehicle couldn't.
Yeah.
I could have kept going, but I didn't. I had nothing to hide.
Yeah, you want to be respectful.
Yeah, I turned around, I said, hello, sir, and, we had our exchange, but very polite. They just wanted to make sure that I was, not in the park up to no good.
Yeah. Just
it was all good.
That's what they're there. They're there to make sure that nothing bad is going on. Protecting people, protecting the park. I mean, it's a government-owned park. Makes sense. You got to follow the rules.
Exactly.
Shout out to everybody watching on Twitch. I see all the fam in there. Rachel Kratz, Cosmic, Unsaver. Shout out to everybody watching on Facebook. We love y'all. Head over to our Twitch where you can get a little more interaction with us. That's where we like to hang out and watch some stuff and do all that fun stuff. I got pulled over leaving the office the other day.
How'd that go? You were getting a little sideways, or what happened?
I drive too quick.
You have like a NASCAR pace truck, right?
Yeah, like old school. Yeah,
it used to be in the
circa
Daytona
1998,
500 or
but
something,
yeah. Still spins tires and stuff like that. And
it beats me off the line, I'll tell you.
Yeah. But I'm whipping out of the parking lot one day, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I go, oh, he's pulling me over. And then like lights came on as soon as I saw him there. Pulled me over. You could see the spot from here, but it was cool. He was totally nice. He asked me, you leaving Garen's place? And I was like, yeah, leaving MagicalButter, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, checked out my things, asked if my stuff was good, and it said it was all good. So he said, have a nice day. Like, it was a great interaction. He was just,
You're a pretty polite guy.
Yeah,
though.
I was super polite. Like, I pulled you over, and I was like, yeah, probably that stop sign just now. Like, yeah. Probably why.
You need to
I was chasing one of you or one of the other people out of the lot.
Respect the traffic, man.
It's
for a reason.
Yep.
And you don't realize that until something happens, right? Like, and nothing bad, but like even in something as little as like stubbing your toe or little things, you just really have to be mindful when you're behind a 2-ton vehicle hauling ass. You got to really be careful.
Looking away for 2 seconds can be all it takes.
Dangerous.
Like all it takes is that glance down, that glance away, like that glance at your phone. Like don't do it. You just gotta refrain. They've recently strengthened the laws somewhere.
You can't really drive and have a cell phone in your hand.
Yeah, yes, they put it that way, was that they cannot, if they see you with your phone in your hand, they can pull you over and give you a fine for it.
Rightfully so, because like 9 times out of 10, if you have someone in traffic in front of you or near you, and you start to notice that they're driving poorly, 9 times out of 10, they're probably looking at a phone or they're sitting at a green light still. They haven't went because they're looking at their phone.
You'll drive past somebody that's going really slow, and you look over, and they're just like doing this. It's like, whoa!
And I get it. Like
you be
sometimes
careful.
People have to make a quick phone call or send a quick text. Whatever the story, I see grown men playing video games on their cell phone while they're driving down the road. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Very dangerous out there.
So today is 7/10. If you don't know, write the number 710 on a piece of paper, flip the paper upside down, and you'll get the word oil. So today's National Oil or Concentrate Day.
You like concentrates?
I do like them.
Yeah.
They have their place.
They have their place. I like concentrates.
I see some of the. Let's talk a little bit about concentrates today because, there's all different.
What do we mean when we say concentrates?
There's all different forms, right? Mm-hmm. And there's safe forms of extraction.
10 to 20, different forms. Like there's like a lot of different types of extraction, and then there's like a lot of convolution in some of it as well. Like a recent word that everybody's hearing a lot about is distillate.
Right.
Like I remember 2 years ago, distillate was referring to something else than what they're currently referring to distillate as. Same with the rosin resin debate that was going on a few years ago.
Yeah. Like live resin.
Resin versus rosin versus
Yeah, so
shatter,
there's all these different forms, and under the umbrella of cannabis concentrates is pretty much any product that's procured through extraction. So that includes all solvents, right? Butane, CO2, ethanol. Basically, those are acting as a solvent that's going to strip from the cannabis plant all the compounds and leaving behind a product that's highly concentrated in cannabinoids.
So increasing the percentage of cannabinoids.
Yeah, like
would be concentrating,
stripping it from large amounts of plant matter and concentrating it down is generally what is meant. And some types of extracts can test as high as 80 to 90% in THC.
Yeah, I think I've seen things as far as like 94%, 95%, like where there's not much other substance other than THC in there.
And I've even seen that they have concentrates and different forms of CBD extracts. The same format, but there's no intoxicating effects there.
Yes, correct.
So I mean, we've had our own little experiences there. Let's talk a little bit about some of the different types. We all know about hash.
Hash would have been like the original, one of the OG concentrates, I imagine. That's like them putting it through a screen, like kind of mashing it through a screen to get a certain size trichome out of it. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
like that'd be using oil bags or hash bags.
You can use like either like ice water or solvents, or even the original hash, I think, was finger hash.
Finger hash.
Handling the plant and picking and trimming, and you rub these balls together. You get all these hash balls on your scissors and on your hands, and so yeah, I mean, it's a concentrate that's basically made by compression of the plant's resins. So if you have a ton of keef, you can put that in a press and press that down and get hashish. And
yeah,
hash.
That pretty much turns into hash there. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, some of my first experiences, I guess, with concentrates would have to be hash.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Before BHO and before the other ones and before dab rigs. I know my dad talks about the old Pyrex glass cup deal. You take a little piece of hash and you put it on a
pin,
a paper clip or a pin or something like
that.
Hit. A pin hit, and you light it on fire and it just sits there and smolders, and you take hits out from the glass. That was before they had dab rigs. That was before even paraphernalia was harder to get back then. Like they were smoking off of
Also, another form would be a knife hits.
Yeah, a knife hit. Yeah,
that's like a way to vaporize.
Knife nice and hot on the stove there.
Torch up 2 butter knives and press a small amount of either hash or flour, and it vaporizes, and
Yeah.
So keef. So keef is pretty awesome. Also known as like dry sift or pollen. You can get this very easily through the bottom of your grinder.
Yep.
You can
pretty much every grinder you buy has that little screen in the bottom of it, and then the little piece you unscrew at the bottom that collects your keef. And that's just the little THC crystals falling through the screen.
We've been fortunate enough to have large amounts of keef. Like you can buy it in stores and things. We've had ounces of keef.
Yeah, I've seen ounces of keef in jars before. It's a thing of beauty.
You can make delicious infusions with keef. None of the chlorophyll. You're getting all the flavor and the potency there. It's really, really amazing.
Yep.
So what else do we have?
Keef is probably one that like just about everyone has experienced. Everybody's dug into the bottom of their grinder while they're rolling a joint, decided to put it on the bottom of the joint, or packed a bowl and then decided to I want this bowl to be a little bit extra. Let me top a little keef on there so that I'm getting a little bit more THC in the hit that I'm taking.
Absolutely. Yeah. People are asking about vape juice recipes. There's different ways you can make vape liquids. There's a few different websites you can go to and buy solutions that are going to help with that. But one that I know of specifically is dablabs.com, labs with a Z. They have a carrier solution that you would mix a concentrate to and create your own vape liquid. But to be honest, creating a vape liquid in the Magical Butter machine is probably not the best idea. You're not going to get a good concentration of that. The best way to create a vape oil is to take a already extracted concentrate, like some shatter, some wax, and mixing that with your vape liquid or carrier oil.
Or some of your larger companies will actually use a clear extraction that goes straight, that is just pure THC going in, like a distillate or a clear is what they used to call it, that goes into the pen. And that's a lot higher grade of an extraction that requires a lot of expensive equipment and things like that. So the process is more innate because it's, $100,000 process to do, for example.
You can't really just take whole flour and mix it with glycerin and expect to have a vape.
Yeah, you can't do it in your kitchen,
like
essentially. It's not shake and bake.
So just trying to clear that up for some of our followers. I've had people hitting us up on Instagram asking about scissor or syrup. They want to know how to make this lean.
How to make the lean, yeah.
And so the main way that we know of doing that is again, taking a distillate or a concentrated oil. You can use MBO if you'd like. You may have a little bit of a stronger flavor if you did do a whole plant extract, but distillate or a concentrate, and you're going to want to mix it with a bit of glycerin and also a sweetener.
Yeah, you're going to mix that with like a sweet juice, like almost like a nectary type juice, something that'll give it some thickness and consistency to it. And then the sugar that's in there as well helps the cannabis get into your system faster. That's what we've seen with gummies and things like that, is like it's the thing that it rides on, the thing that the THC is attached to. The quicker that breaks into your system, the faster the THC will go into your system. So if you're using cannabis sugar, it'll absorb into your body a little bit faster.
Yeah, and I mean, medical patients are using this syrup, but in my opinion, it's more of a novelty or a recreational type formulation. Like, if you're looking to an alternative to alcohol,
it's a great
alternative party drink.
At a party, you could be having a cannabis cocktail. We had cannabis cocktails here on the radio a few weeks ago, and you guys got to see me get
twisted.
Very, very twisted.
But as like a daily source of medicine, we try to kind of steer you towards more of a healthier route. So stay away from those sugars on a daily basis, I would say.
Yeah. You can medicate through just the oil alone. Mm-hmm. Like just your coconut oil itself can be, taken into your system without anything extra left on it. So you're just receiving the medical benefits.
So no oil episode would be complete without talking a little bit about tinctures and also the fully extracted cannabis oil.
Yep.
So tinctures are a great thing that you can create in the Magical Butter machine. It's a highly concentrated form of an herbal infusion, and up until about 1937, tinctures were the most common form of cannabis medicine in the United States. So you could get tinctures of
up until what year?
1937.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've seen the pictures of the old little bottles on it. It'll say cannabis sativa on it, and it was a cough syrup because cannabis is such a great expectorant.
Yeah, so basically a tincture is nothing more than a liquid concentrate procured through alcohol extraction. So the alcohol acts as a solvent, which pulls out many of the plant's beneficial cannabinoids. Once you have your tincture, a few drops under the tongue is going to be a sufficient dose. It's going to act very rapidly, and patients can have confidence to safely dose and apply as needed.
Yes, if you've been making the same tincture and you make it with the same amount every time in the same way, then you would know that your 3 squirts or 4 drops or whatever it is what you need in your body to produce the same effects. Something I also like about tinctures is they can be reduced for strength. You can reduce some of the alcohol using heat or just time. Like I've had a jar of tincture that I've left just sitting open in a cabinet, which we live in a pretty hot state, so the warmth just inside was enough to evaporate a little of that down, and so if you're at that's 100%. If you reduce it to 50, you're not losing any plant material, you're gaining strength.
It's reducing, but it's increasing in potency.
Yeah, you're losing alcohol, not losing.
That brings us to our other form here of concentrate. So once you have a tincture, like Dalton mentioned, you can get it down to a fully extracted cannabis oil, aka Rick Simpson oil, or here at MB we call it MBO, Magical Butter Oil.
MBO, Rick Simpson oil, FICO. I've seen it referred to as all those different things out there on the line.
And essentially, you create an alcohol tincture by soaking cannabis in pure alcohol. All the good therapeutic compounds of the plant are drawn out of the plant, leaving behind like a tar-like liquid once all the alcohol evaporates. So.
It'll be like a syrupy, molassesy type oil. We got to see Corey do it on the show last week, where he reduced a quarter cup or so of tincture down to an oil. And then he sucked it in syringes, and we shared it around. I've heard great things, like the Amazon boys were saying that they had a great time with it.
Oh, it's very powerful stuff. You have to be careful when you are using that. If it's your first time ever using FICO or MBO, use a small amount. They say a grain of rice.
A grain of rice is the standard that I hear for, like, even a heavy dose. A grain of rice would be considered a heavy dose.
I took about 3 grains of rice my first time, and it was intense. I tell you, I had to go be active throughout the day, and I was like feeling pretty cool a little bit. It was challenging though. Like when you consume such a high concentration of cannabis, orally, it really can linger.
For a long period of time. Yeah, you'll wake up feeling tired the next day.
I had somebody in the comments asking about canola oil. That's a great question. We get people calling all the time asking us about canola oil or vegetable oil, and I understand why. When you go to the store, if you buy like baked goods in a box there, like it's probably going to recommend you use canola oil or vegetable oil in the recipe. I got my own beliefs on that. I think that's a big scam. Don't use vegetable oil. Don't use canola oil. It is terrible. Canola oil is actually, it comes from the rapeseed. So right there, it starts with a terrible thing, right? Who wants a rapeseed? And they had to remarket it as something that sounded healthy. And there was a surplus of this oil that was available. It actually comes from Canada, and they called it canola to give it this healthy appeal, but it's very bad. It's a poor carrier of cannabinoids. It's full of bad fats, and it's not going to be good for your extractions. Same goes for vegetable oil. Okay, so I encourage you guys to do a little bit of research. You can look up different types of cooking oils and research some of their fats and the differences between, you know, polysaturated, monosaturated, medium chain triglyceride. So all fats aren't created equal. You're looking for a high, healthy fat content, whether you're doing, you know, cooking oils or butters. And
you take your oils very seriously. Like you come into the studio and you do not like seeing vegetable oil or canola oil, anything being used that.
It's like, because it's counterproductive. Like
it is exactly.
You're putting healthy, beneficial cannabinoids into something that's by nature unhealthy.
Exactly, yeah. So then you'd be cooking a brownie that has unhealthy oil in it, and if you're trying to help with your diabetes or something like that, like it's not going to help as effectively. It's not going to have all those benefits in it.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to wash your hands and you're like, hey bro, I need to wash my hands. Am I going to give you some nice soap for your hands or a handful of dirt?
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, no, it's true.
You want to make sure you're using the right stuff. Another type of concentrate out there that's very popular, you're seeing a lot of this in the vape liquids, and CO2.
The CO2 extraction is a pretty good extraction. Like, maintains a lot of flavor, I've seen.
Preserves a lot of the terpenes.
Yeah, preserves a lot of the terpenes. Like, you get a nice... And then CO2 is a solvent you don't have to really be too afraid of because we produce it even. You know, it's
one thing though, without expensive equipment, you're not going to be able to do.
You cannot do a CO2 extraction without expensive equipment. I want to say one of the smaller things starts out $40,000 or so, like just like for, you know, about as tall as a person is with a bunch of tubes and things coming off of it, like $40,000. That's a lot of money to start investing into making your own when there's companies out there making it.
And so once somebody decides that they're ready to try a concentrate, today's oil day, 710, guys. We're just talking a little bit about, you know, dabs and concentrates and all types of oils and healthy different forms of cannabis.
Yeah. You were talking about how FICO can an edible oil can sometimes be strong and sneak up on you. So can some of these other types, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to really be careful when consuming these. One thing that I know about dabs and concentrates, like at some of these events we go to, for instance, they create specific rules for vendors. If vendors are going to be giving concentrates to the public, there's a whole series of etiquette and rules, but some of them include a safe place to sit down, water on hand, proper cleaning methods, like all different things.
Because you can get quite a head rush from doing a dab.
Yeah, it leads to
a dab, which is a hit of oil or
rapid heartbeat. Your core body temp is going to rise.
Yeah.
Head rush.
Yeah, you'll get hot. You'll start sweating. Like I've seen that happen. Like,
one of the main things that is a cause of injury is an accident or a fall, where like people will almost black out from taking such a large hit.
Yeah, when they're not expecting. And then something I see people do often as well is they'll hold it. Because like old school, that's like old school tradition. Is
zero it in.
Yeah, zero it in. Like, you know, your dad takes a hit and he decides to hold it for 15 seconds for whatever reason, and then he's like wondering why he's so stoned. It's like, you held it for so long. Like,
I actually have a story of that out on a boat with my buddy and his father, and we gave old man the dab, and he hit him with the zero in, like just holding his breath, like trying to hold
like
in
you
the
would
hit.
when you're taking a big hit back in the day.
He passed out and hit his head, fell on the ground, and I swear I thought he died. I was like, oh no. You know, we wake him up and gave him a little love there, and he woke right up and was okay. But it was a quick reality check for us. Like, you have to be careful when you're consuming these concentrates. Like,
even strange things like, you know, your knees being locked or something like that can cause you to, when you get a rush of oxygen or a lack of oxygen, can cause you to pass out. So there's all kind of things involved. Like, I recommend sitting. Like, that's probably a good recommendation if you're taking a dab for the first time. Do it seated.
So let's talk a little bit about, you know, the dangers of concentrates right now. We're kind of going right into this topic here. There's dangers in the manufacture of the concentrate. There's also dangers in the consumption of it. So me and Dalton are going to highlight some of those with you guys here and try to educate the public and make people aware on how to be safe if you are going to be consuming these things.
I remember when dabs first came around. I'm going to say it was probably 2012, 2011, like it was right after high school. That's why I can remember the year. But like, back then, we didn't really know much about it. Like, there was so much less information available the first time I ever saw dabs than what we have right now.
What was your first, like, your first impression when you very first witnessed, like, was there a torch involved? Was it intimidating?
Yeah, my first dab story is a great one. It's almost like a first smoking weed story.
Let's hear it.
I was at a party. It was sometime after high school. I'd been like a smoker, cannabis smoker. I'd never had a dab before. We were at a house party. It was me and like a group of friends. It was a guy's house I'd never met before, but he had dabs and concentrates. So of course he's doing them and stuff like that. And like, we've never fucking done dabs and that kind of thing. So we're a little bit like weary of it. So he's finally like, "You want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take a dab." So I took the big dab, like. Of course, it's weird with the blowtorch and everything. Everybody's kind of like watching and waiting, and then like some of the friends there didn't smoke, so they're like, "Whoa, what's happening right now?" Like that kind of thing. And did a big dab, but got super duper stoned off of it, like more stoned than I was prepared to be, and that caused me to kind of like become paranoid. And like we were just at a kid's house, and it like he's like just showing me his gun, like, "Oh man, check out my gun." And it fucking scared the hell out of me. I remember going up to friends like, "Oh my God, he's got a gun. We gotta leave like right now," like before knowing anything.
Yeah,
like,
you were
before being a fan of guns or being into cannabis.
It enhanced your paranoia there.
It significantly enhanced the paranoia. And I remember like I like got in my truck and left. I was like I remember going to my friend like, "We gotta go. We gotta like leave right now. He's got a gun. Like we gotta get out of here."
You just got a bad feeling.
Bad feeling just from like the high and all that kind of stuff that you weren't used to. But that was, you know. I hadn't seen them again for another 2 or 3 years. You know, that was the next time I saw dabs, and like now, you know, it's just normal.
So there you mentioned the blowtorch. So for people who don't know,
that's a big thing.
Dabs are typically consumed like in a rig, they call it, and it's basically a glass water pipe. There's either a hollow metal rod or some kind of a nail that you usually have to heat up to a hot temperature. And once the surface is heated up, you allow it to cool to the right temperature, and basically you put your concentrate on there. It's instantly vaporized and it's inhaled through that glass rig. The rig is very scary to some people. It's intimidating. You have to have a blowtorch.
You have to have the blowtorch, and like people that dab a lot and usually at home, you'll even have like a plumbing style blowtorch. Because,
larger.
Yeah, like a lot of the ones you'll see people traveling with are a little less scary because like they're little like handheld torches. But if you're dabbing a lot, those little hand torches don't do hardly anything. They're pretty much useless to a regular dabber. A Home Depot grade like propane cylinder that you're doing that you're heating a nail off of that you're then smoking. So it's certainly something that you be aware of like for looks. Like if somebody's not familiar with what's going on, or somebody's like wary of cannabis in general, like them seeing the blowtorch and seeing that process and then seeing the person choke, like that usually happens after you do a dab. You cough, your eyes turn all red, like your snot comes out of your nose.
It kind of
whatever.
It sort of hurts I don't want to say it hurts the industry, but it does in a way. Like the whole look, and it does have a sort of...
I thought you were going to say it hurts your lungs, but yeah, it hurts. It hurts for looks as well.
The look of it is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, because you're taking a little torch or heating something. I've heard some, like people talk about concentrates in a negative light, almost like the coca plant.
It's so social. I know the social implications of it. Like for me personally, if you are gathering with a group and you're deciding to use cannabis together, a lot of the fun in that is the socialization of it and hanging with your friends and passing a ceremonial pipe or joint around.
There's a process of
rolling. Everybody slowly, elevates their feelings at a consistent pace, and it's not like a rush. Whereas with the dabbing, you take a dab and you're instantly higher than you've been in a long time. You're choking your lungs out. It takes a recovery period. There goes the socialization. At this point, you're so baked, you can barely think straight, let alone have a nice conversation.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like usually at the dab point, it's like the what next after that. Like okay, dabs now what? Whereas like smoking, you just end up falling into something. You end up like, oh man, let's watch a TV show, or like you just start talking and conversation happens and stuff like that, rather than somebody just choking and coughing and that kind of thing. So I agree with you. Your dabs are definitely something that changed the look of the industry. That's something that you'll see at events is like the dab booths, and there'll be a line of people like waiting to get a big dab, and you get the head rush and all that kind of thing. What are some of the things to be wary of, besides the fact that like it can be a big abrasive hit to your lungs, like also what it can be made with? Yeah,
was it safely extracted? Are all the solvents purged out of them? These are all things to be concerned with. What quality of plant matter was used to create that form of the medicine? Because a lot of times, like your premium nug run and the most fire buds are being sold as nugs and the most fire buds. A lot of times the stuff you buy that are these vapes and the concentrates and things, they're using the unsavory parts of the plant to create something that's more desirable.
Yeah, to increase profits and to waste less as a company, which would cause you to produce higher profits. So.
The other thing with inhaling these concentrates is the temperature that you're inhaling these. Like I gotta think that hot vapor at a certain temperature is going to be harmful to your esophagus and throat.
It would have to be, yeah.
So those are things to be mindful of.
How do you temp out when you're doing a dab? Do you temp it out any sort of way?
Yeah.
Some people are really precise about it. Some people like have a little stopwatch and they'll like hit their stopwatch like on the go.
I have an hourglass and it has different times. So
do you use it very often?
No, not at this point. I kind of know. You learn, but generally I like to wait at least 45 seconds to a minute. I've seen people wait as far as like a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Yeah. I've always heard like you take your wrist and you hold it above the nail, and then when it's to the point where it's not so hot that it's like burning, that's the temperature you want to do it at. And that's kind of how I do it. I time it out with just by feeling, sensing it.
Sensimilia. So the other concern about concentrates is the manufacture. We're talking a little bit about
that was something we were doing back early in the early day was, dabs were this thing and like they weren't really on the market or anything like that. So like, there's a few friends that were like, let's try to make them. You just put butane through it, right? Like regular butane, like that you would get at the store. We didn't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of
the information wasn't there.
At-home extractions happening. And actually,
I remember in the early days, like going down to Publix and buying like butane canisters,
leading
squirting them through a thing.
Leading to, fires, burns, explosions.
Fires, burns, explosions, yeah. But like when you're reducing butane, you got to be super careful about that. And
it also led to...
What's the butane leaving behind? Like the butane was never meant to be ingested to begin with. Like what kind of chemicals and things are lingering in there that's like that now you're going to be ingesting because you mixed with your cannabis.
It led to a lot of lawmakers rushing to form legislation to prevent people from doing extractions at home.
Yep.
All extractions. And then which led to an uproar from the patients and the people where they're like, wait, all extractions aren't created equal, right? Like blasting this butane is not the same thing as creating coconut oil or RSO. They shouldn't be grouped in the same, categories. And I mean, I'm happy that certain lawmakers were able to differentiate that through education and listening to the people. But for instance, in Washington State, there are different laws, right? There is a law against any form of extraction as far as like, creating your own BHO or wax at home unless you have a proper license. But cooking oils or butters or using other non-explosive substances can be used at home with no regards to the law. So something that's pretty cool there.
That is pretty cool, yeah. And that's where we were saying earlier is it takes a lot of equipment to properly make make concentrates that you're going to be smoking. Like it takes a lot, whereas to make an edible extraction, you can do it as first low as $174.95.
I'm telling you, man, the Magical Butter machine is something that's to be reckoned with, and making it easy for people to make healthy extractions and also safe. We want to give you guys a complete kit, everything you're going to need to be successful in the kitchen. And I'll tell you, as these laws start to form in these different states, it's getting more and more exciting to be Magical Butter. I'll tell you, right now in Canada, you guys may have heard, shout out to Canada, by the way, I got my Toronto Marijuana Leafs jersey on, hockey all the way. But as of October 17th, there's going to be full legalization across all the provinces. And one thing that's not going to be legal is edibles. So basically, people are going to be forced to make their own edibles at home.
Yeah, so edibles won't be available in stores. It won't be illegal to have edibles or make edibles or anything like that. It's only they just won't be sold in stores.
You won't be able to go buy them.
Well,
so there will be a thriving, probably gray or black market full of edibles, but there's also going to be, a whole thriving market of crafted at-home users that want to create their own cooking oils and edibles for their own consumption.
And one of the best way to consume edibles is, I feel like, in a full meal. Like that is my absolute favorite way to consume. Like I don't really like eating it in a piece of candy or something like that. I enjoy the full meal experience, like eating food, and then as a result of eating the food, you end up with a little buzz.
Yeah, like eating a piece of candy is fun for novelty and stuff, or if you're on the go.
Or if you're, yes, there's definitely times, but as far as like for regular consumption, like in your daily life, how to get it in there.
Yeah,
mix it in with the food you're already eating.
I agree. Integrate it into your daily diet. Like there's so many healthy foods, and you're gonna feel better. The better the food is that you're eating, the better you're gonna feel about it. And if there's cannabis in it, whoa, you're really gonna feel good about it.
Oh yeah.
So. That's a great point. I mean, we always reference salad dressings, right? Because who can get mad at a salad dressing? Like salad, you should be eating salad at least once a day. It's good for your brain. It's good for your body. And then adding healthy cannabinoid-infused salad dressing to that, like
yeah, you're amping your health up.
Boosting it up.
Yeah. I wonder if our boy Rob's had any experience with concentrates.
I know he's had some experience with some other fun compounds. Maybe we'll get him on here to see what he's been up to.
You've got compounds to talk about today, don't you, Belle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's push Rob in the middle.
It's a compound
Hello,
life.
fellas.
Yo, dog.
Hey, Rob.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Hi.
Well, welcome back, bud. Welcome back. It's been a few weeks. Yeah, just like us.
Good to see you, my man.
Happy jersey.
Thank you. Like your purple shirt.
Thank you.
Looking good, looking good.
Fantastic
So
shirt.
happy 710. We're talking a little bit about, concentrates, dabs, things of that nature. What's your experience with oils and concentrates, Rob?
I really have a limited experience using, especially dabbing. I've not dabbed a lot in my experiences. I don't know. I've tried wax, but I don't know. I gotta be honest. I prefer eating it. I prefer consuming cannabis as opposed to doing dabs. It hurts my lungs sometimes, so that's why I'm not real.
It's not really not really your deal.
And I heard Dalton's story earlier about the gun, and that's
funny.
It's scary to me.
Scary.
That's why I go,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's scary, yeah.
Cool. So,
Were you like
yeah.
paranoid trying to pull your friends out of there and stuff? Like, we gotta go.
Yeah, that was probably, I've never actually fired a gun before, and I went to Dalton's house, and it's like, there's some guns there. So, fun times.
Are you
Is it
muted
on?
up?
Oh, yeah, you muted?
Oh, am I?
Is this thing on?
It says it's on.
6-4.
Oh,
Boom. There we go.
Boom.
Gotcha.
All right.
hey, well,
Check
Those
1,
little
2.
mute buttons.
yeah. Apologize.
So yeah, today's 710, which is oil upside down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
That's what it spells.
we're talking a little bit about concentrates and those kind of things. One thing that's cool is that
Oh, look at that.
once you have a concentrate or an oil, you can utilize that directly in the Magical Butter machine as a way to create a more potent or more concentrated cooking oil.
Really?
Exactly, yeah. So like, for instance, our recommendation is 7 to 14 grams of flour per cup of oil you make. Well, if you're using a concentrate like shatter, wax, butter, any of those, you would use about 3 to 4 grams of a concentrate per cup of butter or oil.
Yeah, if you think of a gram of cannabis holding on to, between 100 and 150 milligrams of THC, 1 gram of concentrates can be holding, 7 to 900 milligrams of THC, depending on its percentage.
It's really interesting, and we've used concentrates as a way to improve flavor, improve potency.
That's, I think, my favorite thing about concentrates is the flavor that you get when you're smoking versus like when you've been smoking cannabis, usually your bong will start to develop a taste to it. The end of the joint or
Yes,
blunt develops
I
a
don't
taste
like
to
that.
it. The dabs don't have that bad taste to it ever. It always, if it's good, it always has like a nice flavor, a nice terpy profile, so something like that. So it's never like a nasty, stinky hit.
Yeah. Lady on Instagram, shout out to Dabbing Granny.
Dabbing Granny.
She's pretty cool.
Dabbing Granny?
I got to meet her out in Colorado. She's a good friend of Magical Butters. But yeah, she's pretty much made her name as the Dabbing Granny, and she kills it. I mean, she's sponsored by all different cannabis companies. They send her dabs. She does hero doses of concentrates through her e-nail and her rig, and pretty interesting stuff. So Rob's trying to get
That would be 1 Schatzberg.
Mike 1 on Rob there. So
she takes some monster hits, man. I just saw the cloud of smoke.
That may be where we went wrong.
No, it's mic 1. Make sure it's set to frequency 6.4, the station.
Sorry.
For
It's okay.
6.4, no, that's on our fault. That's on 3.4. You said 6.4?
6.4, please.
Boom.
Look at that.
6.4.
All right.
I don't
Thank
think
you.
I can rip that the way she did.
Techie shats in the sky.
Yeah, she holds it together. She's with it the whole time. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So check out Dabbing Granny. Also, in honor of 710, Magical Butter has partnered with so many different influencers and websites. We have Magical Butter giveaways going all day long. I want to give you guys at home a chance to tune into some of these. So if you guys are listening, go to Instagram, and here's a few of the people you can check out. All right? They're going to be doing 710 Magical Butter giveaways all day long for July 10th. So go check out So-Called Vixen, all right? At So-Called Vixen. She's doing a great giveaway. Also, at Cash Color Cannabis on Instagram. Cash Color Cannabis. Shout out to our friend Jenny Wake and Bake. Go check out Jenny Wake and Bake. She's got an amazing giveaway going on. Also, cannabis.net. www.cannabis.net. They've got an amazing Magical Butter giveaway that you can take advantage of today. 420 Magazine. Go check out Rob at 420magazine.com. They are giving away the whole Magical Butter Baker's Kit today for $7.10. Celeb Stoner. Go to Celeb Stoner on Instagram. Check them out. We have an amazing giveaway going on there. And last but not least, Shop With Me Mama. So go to @ShopWithMeMama for a chance to win a Magical Butter Baker's Kit.
Dang.
That's a ton of people, right?
Dang. Yeah, that's like
It's blowing
a bunch
up.
of people going to be getting machines in their life, like changing it up.
Definitely. So we're excited to see who's going to win that. Also, if you guys are tuning in right now on Facebook, share this video for a chance to win. As always, we're hooking you guys up. Let's see, man.
So I got a water here today that's in a cardboard container.
Is there any CBDs in it?
No, there isn't. That'd be nice. You know, we'll get there one day. But at least the CBD water companies, if they are producing CBD water, should put it in a cardboard container versus putting it in plastic.
Also, check out
Like, look how much less plastic that is.
Captain Dabbins.
100% less.
Oh, like almost 100% less, besides the cap, yeah. So 95% less plastic, because our dependence on plastic is killing your environment, your world, and it's in the water that you're drinking out of the taps, and now you're showering in plastic and all kinds of stuff. Stop using plastic, folks.
Yeah.
Gotta stop.
Single-use plastic is frowned upon. Shout out to Dwayne Peterson. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you chatting us.
Gonna be plastic in your blood, you're gonna turn into plastic.
Shout out to Tina Billieu. We love you. Nice to talk to you today. I appreciate you calling in. We got all kinds of people tuning in right now. Captain Dabbins, remember him? Oh, you weren't there in Cali.
I wasn't in Cali. I saw Captain Dabbins was commenting.
He's a cool dude. Cool dude. So Michigan announced today, or I believe actually yesterday, they added some new qualifying conditions to the medical program. So autism and 10 other conditions will now qualify patients for medical cannabis. So the list features 22 ailments total, and that will allow a doctor to recommend medical cannabis to a patient.
Wow, yeah. Michigan's medical system has changed a lot in the last 4 years.
It has, and it's interesting to see. I got a little bit of my own opinions on this, but we'll go ahead and announce some of the qualifying conditions for people so they're aware. So included in the list of approved medical conditions for Michigan: arthritis, autism, chronic pain, colitis, inflammatory bowel disease, obsessive compulsive disorder, Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, spinal cord injury, Tourette syndrome, and ulcerative colitis. Those ailments will be added to the existing list, which include PTSD, cancer, glaucoma, HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, ALS, Crohn's disease, Alzheimer's, and nail patella. So I'm not sure about you guys, but I don't think there should be qualifying conditions required to use medical cannabis. What's your take on that?
Well, to use medical cannabis, you would, unless you're using it as a nutraceutical for preventative medicine, for it to be considered medical, you're treating something, correct? I mean,
so
that's just in verbiage, though.
Yeah, you have to first be sick in order to qualify to use this plant. But
you would have to be treating something that's wrong.
But it's already well known. Science has stated that cannabis fights symptoms in many conditions, and that it also can be actually used to prevent health issues to begin with.
Yes, as a preventative medicine, as a focusing agent, as an anti-anxiety, like all kinds of things that people use it for that are conditions that I think everybody kind of deals with.
Go ahead. I'm just surprised by the conditions that they denied. Like you say, like there shouldn't be certain conditions that are approved. Well, what about the ones that are denied? Asthma, brain injuries, depression, diabetes, gastric ulcers, non-severe and non-chronic pain, organ transplant, panic attacks, schizophrenia, social anxiety disorder. I can testify that I've had 3 of those: anxiety, social anxiety disorder, and depression. And through the use of cannabis, I've had more success treating those 3 using cannabis and therapy and meditation than I ever had using pharmaceuticals.
So imagine these people who are suffering from these different conditions who are now told, sorry, you don't qualify for medical cannabis, but maybe they have asthma or anxiety and they want to try it out as a medical option, and they can't.
And they can't. Like, it's just, it says no, that these conditions are denied.
So, I mean, it's no secret, cannabinoids are neuroprotective, so they help maintain and regulate brain health. They help prevent stress. They help reduce inflammation, prevent heart disease, potentially reduce the risk of stroke. So I mean, like, they help people with just like digestion and overall happiness in general. I'm under the feeling that cannabis should be allowed for all conditions. Like, you shouldn't have to qualify to use it as a medicine.
Well, in November, it says that the voters of Michigan, though there's going to be a ballot proposal that would legalize marijuana for adult recreational use in the state. So then you wouldn't need it. You wouldn't need to have a medical card. There's 269,500 plus medical marijuana card holders in Michigan. Just imagine the amount of people who can't get access to a card there that need it.
Wow.
Hopefully November.
Hopefully November, yes. And there's good cannabis up in Michigan too. We've gone to several cannabis cups up there and like participated in the Country Fair Cup, and great concentrates and great cannabis in Michigan.
I've never been to Michigan. Pretty?
Pretty nice weather.
I know Bob Seger's from there. That's about my extent of Michigan. And the show Home Improvement was filmed or supposed to be based there.
Yeah, really, in Michigan?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, it's very. It's definitely a lot like there's the weird parts of the Michigan cannabis industry as well. Like because of where their laws were, like it was like a medical, but with restrictions, but kind of unregulated. It kind of created a weird market there in Michigan.
Yeah, a lot of growers.
That's what kind of caused them to change the laws into the laws that we're reading now, is because of how far their free laws.
How lax the laws were originally.
Lax laws kind of probably hurt them a little bit. Because in Michigan, it was one of the first places where you could be growing plants for people, where like you can grow your 6 plants, and then you could be a caretaker for 10 people and grow their 6 plants, so then you're allowed to grow 70 plants or something like that. Like they were one of the first places doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, just from traveling up there, we found a lot of people are growing there.
Yes, a lot of growers.
And they're allowed,
Yep.
Now, you guys know more about this than I do, so if it sounds like a dumb question, I apologize. But when it is legal in states like California, where it's and Colorado, where marijuana is legal for recreational use, is it also legal for you to grow it in those states as well, or do you need a special permit? Do you know?
That is a good question.
Where in California?
Yeah, like can you just grow it? Like, okay, it's legal, recreational. I have a lamp, I have a seed. Can I grow it in my home?
Colorado, you can. California, you can as well. You have to get a special license in California.
Okay.
You get permission, and you have to register your plants. You can only have a certain amount.
What does register means? So like, it literally will have like a barcode number, like with the government, where they'll know that like this plant is 1,200,304,506.
In Colorado, you can grow up to 6 plants per resident over the age of 21, with as many as 3 plants flowering at one time. So that's if you were like running in cycles. Like if you were really like using it for yourself, you would have it set up to where like that plant finishes, and then in a month, that one will be ready to go, and then that one, down the road. But it sounds like 6 plants for if you're over 21 in Colorado, you're allowed to grow without they can't be outside. They must be kept in enclosed, locked areas.
Safe.
They can't be openly viewed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. And
That's awesome, man. Good for Colorado.
Yeah, that is cool.
Canada, across the whole nation, you can have 4 plants is the law there. So every citizen can grow up to 4 cannabis plants. Wow. So pretty exciting stuff as the laws change. I'm always a believer in that people should have the right to grow their own. Growing your own is going to be the way to have access to the whole plant at a much more better cost point. When you're buying medical cannabis or recreation cannabis, the cheapest you're going to find it is a few bucks to anywhere to $10 per gram. And when you're using something daily or weekly or monthly, those numbers add up.
So in places like California, it can get up to $55 per eighth and stuff like that. It can get way more than $10 a gram.
Almost close to $20 a gram there.
And then if you're not a medical patient, you've got the 35% tax that's added on top of it. So
when I lived in Cleveland, we were paying $65 an eighth for good stuff.
Wow.
$65. And I've moved to Florida and it's half that price. And I went, wow, I can't imagine. But there's places where it's even harder to get, so it's even more expensive, $85.90.
And now when we go back to places like California, it's $65 for an eighth of the good stuff. You know, like that's the prices they're charging now in the legal market.
Wow.
In the legal recreational market. It's the highest quality and the most legit and probably some of the best bud you've ever smoked. But $65 an eighth is hard to pay for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I mean, like, so let's go with the estimate that you need an eighth per day. Or let's just say an eighth every 3 days, you know? Like, the cost would be...
$650 a month you'd
crazy.
be spending in, wow.
And if you grew your own, you know, you could utilize all the trim, the sugar leaf, and make all different butters and oils and have topicals and all different forms of the plant at hand. Plus, you'll be able to benefit from the top quality buds that you're growing, and it won't be such a, you know, a loss there for yourself. So there's a church in Indiana that's trying to fight. It's the First Church of Cannabis, and they're arguing against Indiana's marijuana laws. They want to have religious freedom to use cannabis. So what's your guys' take on that? Would you join that church or what?
They did that a long time ago out in California. Mm-hmm. That was a movement that was going on to allow people to keep smoking because they're doing it for religious purposes. There's a few things that can be smoked for religious purposes.
I know one thing that's used and was made legal for religious use is peyote, and there was a lot of opposition to that.
Yeah.
One time, it was illegal in the United States to use peyote if you were white, but if you were
one of the Native American,
an indigenous person, you were able to use that.
I still think it's somewhere along those lines. I remember talking to our buddy Sokai. Out somewhere, he was saying that on reservation or whatever, they use peyote during their meetings and ceremonies and things like that. Crazy.
It's amazing stuff. So the First Church of Cannabis they consider cannabis to be a healing plant. I agree. They also think that it brings us closer to ourselves and others. Sounds like a fact to me. And they also regard cannabis as their fountain of health, of love, and cures them from illness and depression. So they embrace cannabis with their whole heart and spirit, individually and as a group. I mean, it sounds like they're on a pretty righteous quest there. I hope the judge of Indiana listens.
Yes, it's interesting. It poses the question, like, replace cannabis with any other word in that, with any other word, fried chicken, cats,
right.
Like anything.
Right.
And is it equally as cool?
I mean, maybe.
Is it okay?
Yeah, like, why wouldn't it be? What if someone considered roses to be a healing plant?
Yeah.
And,
so the first...
they wanted to make a church centered around rose petals and roses. Like, would there be laws preventing that?
No, there wouldn't be.
And so the other thing that's...
there's tax law and things like that apply to religious groups.
One thing that's sure, though, right, is the substances that are considered illegal and on the schedule for federally illegal substances, they're not on there because they're dangerous. I mean, if that was the case, then there would be a whole plethora of chemicals and compounds that were on there that are harmful to our health.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
The only things that get put on that list are things that people actually enjoy using or want to have fun with.
Yeah.
I find it hard, like, it's called an opioid crisis. Like, it's not even there's opioid use, it's a crisis across this nation. And the Attorney General in Indiana, Curtis Hill, he said Indiana's laws against the possession, sale, and use of marijuana protect the health, safety, and well-being of Hoosiers statewide. How? I don't understand how stopping the sale and the use and the possession of a plant, that's my right to use it. How is that protecting you?
It doesn't protect people. I mean, they've attached all this propaganda that makes you feel that it's attached to crime and organized crime and things, but it's not the case. And I want to think that probably in Indiana you got some good old boys out there growing on their farms, and they're probably good people that have nothing to hide or harm. And yeah, you're right. The opioid crisis, And then they're trying to make different compounds like kratom or kratom, they're trying to make that illegal. And that's something that's been known to help people with substance abuse, alcoholism, opioid disorders. So it's...
Yeah, I pulled up a quick list here. Schedule 1 drugs, heroin, LSD, cannabis, ecstasy, quaaludes, and peyote are the things. So interesting things that aren't in there, like cocaine. Like
that is weird.
Like cocaine's got such a low medical benefit. Like I'm sure some people will disagree with that because like there's a medical cocaine program and things like that. But like that's one you'd think would be on there as a Schedule 1 because like what advantages does it have? Amphetamines.
Methamphetamine
is not on there. Yeah.
No, I mean our culture has used amphetamines for over 50 years. Diet pills, speed, fen-phen. Now fentanyl, like...
Giving it to soldiers and things like that, fighter pilots to stay up all night, all those kind of things.
Yeah, and the first church of cannabis, it's actually, like, I remember the story of somebody else trying to claim the same thing, but it was a guy in his apartment in, like, California, and he was going, I'm a church, and it's our right to smoke and sell marijuana out of here because it's our belief. But this is an actual church. The first church of cannabis, it's recognized as a non-profit corporation by the Internal Revenue Service, and they have an actual church. So it's not some guy that's just trying to go, hey, I want to sell weed and use religion. No, it's an actual church, and it actually has followers. It seems like you're starting to impede on that church versus state.
Yes, if
you're crossing that line, and I don't know, man.
Yes, that is interesting. But what if they were to start the first church of heroin or whatever? Then, like, is the state allowed to step in and say anything about it? Like,
here's a book called One Toke to God, and it's the entheogenic spirituality of cannabis. And so that's it's something that was published by the Cannabis Spiritual Center, and that's something that's not spoken enough about in our society is the spirituality of cannabis. And there's all these reasons that people give to why cannabis has been made illegal and kept from the people for so long, but one of the ones that is just glaring in our face that I've always recognized, even since a youth, was that it's definitely restrictive of spirituality and a like almost mind control. They don't want people to be in touch with each other, in touch with nature, and like cannabis provides that for so many people. It provides whatever it is that you're looking for it to provide you for, right? Like it's a comforting plant, and some people use it to have focus and energy. Some people use it to relax and go to bed. Some people have in their mind that it makes them a better, happier, more loving person. So whatever the intention or whatever it is for you, that's exactly what it is. And it's a tool that we're able to use in our daily life to live a more fulfilling, happy, productive life.
It's weird. Whenever I hear spirituality, for whatever reason, I've tied it in to religion. But the two don't have to go hand in hand. And I've started recognizing that through my use of cannabis while meditating, because I've meditated for a long time, but I have a hard time keeping quiet. Unless I use cannabis prior to, I have a lot easier time calming my mind and calming my body. And all of a sudden, someone who does not, find comfort in religion or that there's a higher power, all of a sudden I started feeling much more connected to the universe around me, to the people that were around me. I started noticing more how my personal experiences affected other people's personal experiences. And that's stuff that prior to indulging in cannabis while meditating, I was not able to get to that level. But now I've kind of reached that level. It's becoming self-aware, but it's because of the use of cannabis while I'm meditating. It really has helped. And for somebody to be denied that ability to be able to be spiritual and actually be able to be in touch with other people and their environment, their surroundings, I feel like you're impeding people's rights. I know it sounds very hippie-ish, but it is. Like, let people be connected to one another. There's no reason to stop that connection. And you can find it through cannabis and meditation.
I've got to run for a call.
Yeah.
I'll let y'all keep it. I'll be back later.
No, I agree. And,
Do I scoot down? Is it weird if
Sure.
I keep sitting
Yes,
here?
scoot over a little bit.
Then it just looks like a date between us.
Yeah, we're on a little date here. Yeah, I mean, once you find out about the endogenous cannabinoid system that we all possess, it's hard to deny the fact that we should all be using this daily as a dietary essential, and regardless of your qualifying condition, if you are a human being, you qualify and you should be using cannabis to help your life. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you don't want to experience the psychoactive side of it. Raw cannabis, CBD, there's so many forms of this plant that's going to be beneficial to different people's lives.
And you should have the ability to be able to test and see if you have a good reaction or not to this stuff. It's not, I've never understood, especially when it comes to the war on drugs, these are victimless crimes. Look, if I'm trying a strain of marijuana to see if it helps with my depression, how is that affecting the outside world? It really isn't. It's affecting me in my home by myself.
So, my man, I seen you had a fun little weekend. You were,
What did we do?
We unplugged our system here.
Sorry.
It's okay, buddy.
I apologize.
It might pop back up. Oh shit. We're in trouble here.
I broke, Dalton leaves and I break it.
Help me out here, Jay, baby.
Help, I don't know what to do. Why am I waving my arms? I don't know what that is.
You guys are seeing it all right here.
No, they see nothing. Just keep talking.
So,
Yeah, you don't see anything. I'm gonna stand right up. You ain't seen nothing.
Oh, what'd you do?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I unplugged the desktop.
No, I unplugged the desktop when I
Go to
moved my
desktop
computer
2.
over.
That's our ticket.
It's okay. I'll find it.
All right. So anyway,
Sorry, at-home audience. Oh, look. Oh, no.
we were on to something there, and I kind of lost track of my thoughts. But,
So just so you know, you just gotta move the mouse to this monitor.
okay. And double click that.
So
Go.
pretty.
Thank you, sir.
Good job, man.
So cool. Yeah, we were talking about concentrates today at 7:10. I recently learned about a pretty amazing compound. It's been used in ceremonies for thousands of years. Indigenous Amazonians, I should say, not endogenous, indigenous to their land. They've used this, and it showed great promise in the treatment of certain medical conditions. But it's I don't know if you've seen this or not, but people are using the poison that's excreted from frogs to reach intense psychedelic levels.
Well, I've always heard, like, there was always that rumor that if you licked frogs, you could trip. That was what I've always heard. But you can actually, so they're taking the poison out of the frogs?
Sort of. Not really taking it out, but they're antagonizing the frog until it secretes the venom. But
Oh, okay, and then they're using that. Okay.
What's actually in the venom, if you want to get technical, it's called 5-MeO-DMT, which is a much more powerful form of DMT. And DMT is something that, I mean, it hasn't been proven yet, but they believe it's endogenously produced in the human brain and body. And it's pretty amazing stuff. So
I've never done DMT, so have you ever experimented with DMT, or nobody has?
I know some people who have, yeah.
What is the experience like? Is it similar to something like LSD or mushrooms, or is it a totally different experience?
I would say it's pretty much different than anything you've ever experienced. Like tuning into a sacred botanical technology is almost what I would, equal it to. But it's a quick thing. It lasts maybe 15 or 20 minutes, sometimes less, sometimes more. But it's very powerful and profound. A lot of people experience all kinds of effects. But so that's DMT.
And this is this is a more powerful version of DMT.
This is known as, the most powerful form of it all. It's 5-MeO-DMT. It's secreted from different toads and frogs. So basically the effect is, it can be pretty sinister. It's a powerful feeling. Like, people will vomit, bowel movements will happen, they'll have, the stomach will be upset for several hours. They'll have crazy hallucinations, but when they're done with this whole process, there's an amazing result. It almost empties out everything in your body, and when you wake up, you feel rejuvenated, full of strength, ready to hunt. Some of these people in the jungle report that they're able to see better at nighttime, and ancient Amazonian people used this as medicine at one time. So if you were sick or you were feeling ill, you would get this frog venom, and that would kind of be a super powerful way to purge everything out of your body and be rejuvenated.
Almost like, yeah, like flushing your system and starting over.
So in Peru, what they do, it's called the sapo frog, and basically what they do is they take a leaf, 4 leaves, they put 4 sticks in the ground. Once you catch your sapo frog, you're gonna tie it up by these leaves. Wrists, both ankles, you tie the frog up like an X on these sticks, and then you begin to poke the frog and antagonize it. And there's venom that's secreted from behind its glands, behind its head, under its arms, behind its legs. And they use a combo stick, which is a bamboo stick. And as the venom is secreted, it's like a glossy like jelly, like a white. They scrape it up with a vine and spread it onto this combo stick. And it's collected over time. And then from there it just dries out, and it's a concentrated form of this 5-MeO-DMT. And there's different ways that you can use it. I've seen people smoke it through glass pipes, but they say, like in the jungle, this is the way that it's administered. So once you have all the combo, you're gonna take this vine and light it on fire, and the vine becomes hot, and you have a cherry there. You blow it out, and you poke it into your skin, either on your arm or on your back, depending on what area is affected or what area is in pain. So you burn a hole, and there's a blister that develops on your skin. You scrape that blister off, and now you take that same vine, and you're gonna spit on your combo stick. And I know all this sounds crazy, but this is the real deal process here. So you spit on the stick, you rub the vine into the fluid, and it becomes foamy, and you get a little bit of this frog medicine. And now you apply that to that same spot where the burn was. Okay. And it goes into your bloodstream, and then that's how you take this stuff. So, wow. It sounds pretty powerful.
Yeah, it does. It says that they've been using it since it was discovered in 1925. Like, people have been using it forever, but it was brought to the attention of like the modern medicine world in 1925. So, and this was an article from Fox News back in 2014. So people have known about this. They call it strange medicine that sharpens the senses. Like you said, the hunters that can see better at night. That'd be great, man. If I could sharpen any sense, if you could sharpen any sense, what would it be?
I mean, that's hard. I guess
I'd like better vision. I'd like to see through walls. I know it doesn't do that, but that'd be cool.
Maybe emotional intelligence, like mind reading. Like,
yeah, man, that'd be cool if we could use this venom to have superpowers.
So the sapo frog, it is gaining a little bit of popularity, but there's a big difference between a frog that's caught out in the wild in the jungle and one that's like maybe made in a farm or an artificial environment. So the natives believe that in order to truly get the benefits from it, it needs to be a frog that was caught in the wild.
And they say they don't ever hurt the frog. The frog is never harmed during the process of its use, but it is stressed and annoyed. So that's good. Like, you don't want to see anybody hurting frogs.
Yeah, they release the frog back to the wild, and hopefully they're able to catch it again and, you know, get some more medicine from it.
I wonder, so it's 5 times as much as powerful, or no, it's just 5-MeO-DMT. It's just the strongest version, so it's not 5 times as strong as DMT.
No, yeah, I don't know the exact there, but
that's awesome.
Interesting stuff, man. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm amazed that somebody figured that out, right? Like, did anybody ever, like, how do you get to that point where hey, it might be poison and it could kill me, or it could be the coolest trip that I'll ever have in my entire life. Like there was a guy that had to test that out and figure it out.
Well, ancients have been ancient snuffing paraphernalia and traces of the compound found in northern Chile date the practice to at least the 8th century. So thousands of years. Like this dates back, the tribes that are using this used to eat people, man. Like they are.
Oh, wow.
Cannibals. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And there's stories, there's ancient jungle, I mean, this is before written recorded history. So there's stories and tales that go that certain tribesmen and shamans would live up to 150 years old using this frog medicine on a regular basis. And some men are identified in the tribe as being more wise by how many burns they actually receive over time. So using this more and more, you're revered as a more wise individual as well.
They say between the 1970s and the 1990s, smoking of it on parsley was one of the 2 most common forms of ingestion in the United States. So people were smoking this and I guess continue to do so today.
Crazy. So we're not recommending you guys try that at home, but do a little research. Read about this stuff. It's interesting. There's sacred substances inside plants that we're discovering daily, and in animals as well. There's all kinds of toxins in fish and frogs and bugs and cool stuff like that, man.
Yeah, they say it's in the U.S. It was made a Schedule 1 controlled substance in January of 2011. So it goes right up there with. Wow, there's a lot of drugs on the. Man, we ban a lot of things. You read look, that's a lot of stuff.
Oh, like all the things.
Yeah, that's a whole list of Schedule 1 drugs.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Life is crazy. What's up with that? I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. We're here live in the Magical Butter Studios. I'm hanging out with my man Rob. It's your boy Chris. Dirty Dalton is on a exclusive special conference call right now. He had to hop off the air. So it's just me and you, Rob. I saw you were hanging out with your dog this weekend and enjoying some quality time.
I was.
What was that all about?
I went into a journey into my subconscious for a little bit on Friday.
Uh-huh.
I had some time on my hands because we were off from the radio show that I work for, so I was at home. I'll tell you, man, that is a fun way. You take a hallucinogenic and you sit and cuddle with your dog for 7 hours. Doesn't even matter. We sat there and just petted it. Dogs are great.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. I think everybody should spend a day doing that.
There's like unspoken communication between you and your pet, right? Like,
well, yeah, and you realize you're looking at that dog and you go, man, the only thing that matters to this dog is my love. Like, that's all it lives for. And I go, wow, that is an incredible. And then it started making me think about my son and how the ways that I could be a better father. What are things that I could be doing differently to make my son feel the same way, that all he wants, all he needs is love. Because that's all that dog thinks about is love. It's not worried about money or taxes or bills. It's just worried about food and love. And I went, man, that's a cool life. I wish I could just worry about those 2 things, food and love.
And I mean, in a perfect world you could, but day to day you can try your best to kind of focus on those virtues, right? Always try to be loving and come from a place of love with all your words and your actions, and those are things we can try to do. But yeah, it's tough, man. Sometimes I think the game we're playing here in life is sometimes the rules of engagement they change daily, but love is one that will last forever.
Through different journeys into my subconscious, I've always wanted to take something away from them. Like I've always felt like, hey, it's a journey. I'm going to go on this journey and I'm going to figure something out along the way. And it's weird. Have you ever gotten into your own head when you're in that type of mindset and all of a sudden you're more worried about taking something away from the experience than actually enjoying the experience itself? Like I was sitting on my couch going, what am I going to take away from this? And then I realized, oh, maybe I don't need to take anything away from this. Maybe I just need to relax and enjoy being with my dog. And then I went, oh. And that's when I started going, and I went, oh, okay.
That was the takeaway.
And then it's weird, but you don't realize it until a day later. You're like, man, I'm in such a better mood, and I want to do this with my son, and I want to do this with the dog, and I'm like, oh, okay, I did take it away. I don't need to focus so much on what I'm taking away from this experience. I just need to enjoy the experience. And then all of a sudden you can take that philosophy and apply it to real life. And hey, I don't need to be so worried about the actual experience, and I just need to have fun and enjoy the experience. Yeah, you got to be serious sometimes, but try and relax a little, man.
Yeah.
It's good to relax.
It is. It really is. And cannabis for a lot of people will help them relax. Sometimes psychedelic experiences can be very transformative, make you realize what's important or who's important, or remind you that all this hustle and bustle and he said, she said, and the drama of life is sometimes, if you simplify all that down to basics, it's like, come on, man, life's too short, right? We just got to love each other, love one another. Even when people are offending you or upsetting you, try to come at them from a place of love and compassion, and understand why they're projecting that energy either towards you or in general. They may need help. They may need some love. Maybe nobody's asked them, hey man, how you doing? You feeling okay? You know? Because like, I know we're all trying to live our life every day and take care of one another, take care of our kids, our loved ones, our pets, all these things, but sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. And if you take a moment to check on your neighbor, or check on your friend, or check on a random stranger, you might be kind of off balance there. They might think you're a little weird, but just be like, hey man, how you been? Is everything
how's
cool?
everything going? That's some of the best text messages that I get are from buddies that I haven't heard from in a year and a half. Like, you just lose touch with certain buddies, and out of nowhere you get a text message from your friend and he's just going, hey, how's everything going? And you go, man, it's really good to hear from that person. Sometimes just popping in and checking in on somebody and just going, hey, I wanted you to know, I was thinking about you. That can make that person's day. And you have no idea. You're just, hey, I just was thinking about you. But it actually can change an entire person's. I've had that happen where people have shot me a text message, and out of nowhere I go, oh man, it's so good to hear from you. Thank you so much. That made my entire afternoon.
Well, I mean, that premise alone is what's driven social media. People rely on that little bit of love, those thumbs up, those hearts. You put a comment out there and then you get feedback from it, and now you feel good, and your dopamine receptors are charged up. But you can affect people naturally just by doing that. Like, sending a little text your way and say, hey man, I just want to let you know I love you, I appreciate you, or hey, have a awesome weekend, Rob. Thanks for everything. You know, like, yeah, like I've gotten those kind of messages from random people, whether they're close to you or not, and that little message can change your whole trajectory that day, make you feel on top of the world, and it's pretty special. So everybody at home, if you're listening to us, realize your power, realize your energy, use it for good. We all have it, we all possess it. You can do your part on a small micro level all the way to a macro level just by infecting the world with positivity. So
yeah, you never know what else is going on in somebody else's day. It never hurts. You drive past, think of how many people you drove past on the way to work. Every single person was going through a different experience at that time. Somebody could be going through a divorce. Somebody could have just had the best news of their life. You never know what somebody's going through. So I've really, over the past year, I've stopped using things like cannabis, things like hallucinogenics to run away from things. And I've started using them to embrace who I am and to make me a better person. And over the past year, I have seen a tremendous growth in who I am as an individual, because instead of running from things, I'm trying to be more connected to everybody in my world. And if they're not in my world, I want to be connected to them anyway. And it goes back to that spirituality, man. It's not, hey, I believe in this God or I believe in that God. It's that we're all connected. And I know that sounds hippie-ish, but it's true, man. It's weird, but you can get onto a level where you can feel other people even though they're not around you. And I know that sounds bizarre, but I've been there. And it's not been under the substance of anything except cannabis and meditation. And I've been able to feel other people, and I went, this is cool. This is what I want. I want to be a better person, and these things are helping me. That's why I can't. Do you think we'll see a day across this country where, for the use of cannabis, it'll be legalized recreationally for adults? Do you think that day will ever come in this country? Or do you think it'll always be a battle that we'll have?
Optimistically, I'd like to say yes. That day will come, and what's going to help with that is going to be psychedelics and the use of more cannabis. As others start to understand and become educated on this plant and realize that it's not as serious as they made it sound. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's serious. There's risks, there's all kinds of stuff, but like, it's not a bad, scary thing. It's something that's to be embraced, and I think as society learns more and starts to see the benefits and slowly positivity starts to affect change, I think, yes, we will have, you know, a nation where everyone is free to utilize whatever molecule they'd like.
I agree, because look, our generation, you and I, how old are you? You're 30, right?
31.
31. I'm going to be 32 in August. We are going to be the next batch of congressmen, senators, people who are going to be making these decisions. And knowing what I know about myself and the people that I've surrounded myself with, who are people like lawyers, my buddies are doctors, they've also used cannabis. And those are the people that I'm looking at and going, well, you're going to be dealing with in 10, 15 years, politicians who also used cannabis when they were growing up, so they're not going to be having this hard stance of it's a dangerous drug and you cannot do it. I think in 15 years it's going to be, I would hope sooner, but within the next 10 to 15 years, I think across the United States, I think it'll be legal. And wouldn't that be great for the people who actually need it?
Yeah, totally. I think the whole world could benefit from this plant, and it's it's interesting.
You've traveled outside, working for Magical Butter. You've traveled outside the United States. I know Canada just recently. But when you go to other countries, is the rest of the world changing the way the way the United States is changing as far as their view on marijuana? Because we are coming around. It's a slow come around, but we're coming around as a nation, and we're seeing it's not what we were told it was in the 70s and 80s. Is the rest of the world looking at it that way too, or are there still the places that you've been? Have you been to any countries where they're making that turn where it is illegal, but we all know?
Yeah, I think kind of all countries have a little bit of that going on, right? Like, there's that underground culture in every country, and some of it has a more appealing, there's coffee shops and cannabis clubs all throughout Europe that you can go get cannabis. It's technically illegal, but
okay, that's what I was wondering.
It's there. It's like it's there, but like, yeah, a lot of the governments and legislation is against it, but most of the people are very receptive and understand that it's helping people. And like, the internet was a huge surge in information, and so many people were able to communicate at one time and say, wow, I have this thing wrong with me. I'm using cannabis. It's now fixed, or I don't have these issues anymore. So like,
it's helping this ailment. Yeah,
you can't suppress that. Mm-mm. Like, the world knows, everybody knows that cannabis is good. It's like, how much longer can they keep up that lie? And so, yeah, like, as you go outside of the United States, I would find actually that people of other nations are more progressive on the issue. That Americans are almost a little bit old-fashioned on it. We're still caught up in a lot of the negative hype and stigma, and like the common people, the people right now that I'm speaking to, I'm not speaking to you. You guys are probably already past that point. It's the other people in our community that we need to, go to your local politicians, go to your city council meetings, go meet with your mayor, go talk to those people and let them know that cannabis is changing people's lives, and it's helping your mother and father, it's helping your kids, it's helping your grandparents. It's, those are the stories that are gonna help push this along and, make everybody kind of realize that maybe we were a little bit wrong in the past.
Yeah, it's hard to admit that you're wrong, but I think we're at the point where we can all admit, hey, you were wrong.
Yeah, meanwhile,
enjoy it.
Chugging alcohol is not frowned upon.
But it was, because back in the 20s, they stopped it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
They allowed it, and then they stopped it, and now they allowed it again. And it's perfectly fine for me to go into a liquor store and buy a bottle of 151 proof alcohol, but I can't go and buy, a strain of indica to help me relax and calm my mind before, a big stressful event. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on here in the Magical Butter Studios. Tomorrow is going to be a very special episode of the Magical Butter Show. We're going to be making all kinds of vegan cuisine, and we got some special guest chefs. We're going to have some live music with the Doug South Band. So it should be a really cool episode. What is your, like, do you ever try to eat vegan maybe just for a day? Or?
I started, so my girlfriend works, I'm going to plug it, sorry. She works for a company called ITG, and they're a diet company in St. Petersburg. And I am on a high protein, no sugar diet. Ketosis? You guys had a ketosis chef in here. I went through ketosis on Saturday. My body is now in ketosis. You get grumpy that day because your body is like very low blood sugar. And I could tell that I was grumpy from going through the ketosis. But now I'm on day 5. I've lost 6 or 7 pounds. So I'm eating healthier now. I've never tried going vegan. I like meat. I love meat. I don't know I like ground turkey. I like steak. I like lamb chops, pork chops, whatever. It's delicious. So I don't know if I could ever go vegan. People who go vegan and vegetarian, I go, man, good. More power to you, because I don't know if I have the power in me to do that. Have you ever tried any of those diets?
Not like on a formal way. I do try to reduce the amount of, plant-based or animal-based proteins I take in, but yeah, that's cool, man. Good for you that you're on the ketosis journey. Are you able to eat like natural sugars like fruits and things? Or
not right now.
You kind of stay away?
I'll start bringing them in as I go on this journey. I don't know how much weight I'm going to lose, but I can't. Problem is, if my girlfriend works for the company and she's a weight loss coach, I can't get fatter on the diet. Then she'd be like the worst coach ever. So I have to lose weight because we live together. And living with a diet coach, not so much fun, man, because every time I want to try and cheat, she's right there at the fridge going, no, you've already had your protein bar for the day. You can't have any more.
Well, on one hand, you can look at it as it's not too much fun. But on the other hand, you're very fortunate to have someone there to help you, because if they weren't there, if your girlfriend wasn't a diet coach and she didn't care about you, you'd just be mindlessly eating whatever you want without any recourse or worry. You're like, oh, I'll just eat this shit and not care about how I'm gonna feel later. And it takes people a long time, like generally probably somewhere in your 20s or somewhere in your 30s, or at some point in your adult life, you start to take control of your health and realize what you're putting in your body and that it directly affects the way you feel and the way you function.
It got to the point where I wasn't eating super unhealthy, but I didn't like the way that it made me feel, right? Like, have you ever, I don't know, I just feel better when I have a salad than when I have a cheeseburger and french fries. And my body, when I feel better, I'm a better person to others. I'm a happier person. So I don't want to eat something that's heavy and then go and be grumpy and gassy and greasy, and I don't like that feeling.
So like I heard one time, and I'm not trying to push like vegan, vegetarian, none of that. I'm not pushing anything here. I'm just sort of talking. But I did hear that part of us, whatever you eat, subconsciously you take in some of that object's, energy, right? Well, yeah, that's physically you do, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever source you're getting your energy from, you're taking in some of that. So like if a cow was slaughtered and raised and all that, like, and you're eating a greasy cheeseburger, like not only are you eating something that's more, full of nasty fat and it's not healthy, but you're also eating some of that bad energy that went into killing that cow and all the negative stress and emotions that cow felt. Whereas like when you eat a salad, you said it makes you feel healthier and more energetic and better. Like your subconscious knows that salad is better for you, and there's less impact on eating that salad. There wasn't a slaughter that was
you just picked it off.
Eating a tomato or a piece of lettuce.
I'm in therapy, and in therapy I talk a lot about with my therapist, positive thinking. I'm trying to get to a place where I have more. You ever see The Secret?
Yeah.
And The Secret, if you actually delve into the science of it, there's actual science behind it. If you get past The secret's the easy way to view it and understand it. But if you want to understand, it's called Dr. Masaru Emoto's water crystals experiment. What he did was he talked to water, and I know this sounds ridiculous.
I've heard of this.
He talked to water, and he talked to a tablet of water, and he talked to it positively. I love you. Good luck today. I hope you have a good day. And then he talked to another cup of water negatively. And they zoomed in on the crystals in the water. And the positive water that he said nice things to had the most beautiful crystals you could ever see. But then you look at the water that he talked negatively to, and he said he hated it. And the water crystals were black like coal. And there's actually science. Now think about that. What is your body, 70% water?
It's made of water.
So if you have a negative outlook and you're hearing negative, if it actually has that effect on water, well, your body is made of water. So if you continue to hear negative things, you continue to have a negative outlook, you continue with negative thoughts, that's going to develop within you. Mm-hmm. So it goes right back to that you're eating and becoming what you eat. It's the same thing. It's your mindset. You need to have a positive mindset. So go check it out, Dr. Emoto and water crystals. It's an actual experiment. There's videos on it. I sat and watched one. It's actually super, super educational, and I was surprised.
I've also heard about that. If you want to hear a song that's about that, look up Papadosio, and the song is called Water. But they highlight that experiment at the beginning, and I think the point of the song is that the music that you listen to can also have that effect. So if you're listening to positive, healthy hertz and BPMs and good music, it's going to make your mood, your body, everything feel better, and you'll resonate better with that. If you're listening to more abrasive music with hardcore percussion and rough, like there's a time and a place for that, but like over time, that's gonna harden your soul and like, you know, so like there's truth to all that, man. And like listening to the news and the mainstream media, I would think over time sometimes will have that negative effect on us. They like kind of bombard you with
if it bleeds, it leads. That's what they start with. They start with the worst news story right off the bat, and you go, why do I want that? I gotta be honest with you, man. It's hard. It's hard, and oh God, I'm gonna cry. That's so dumb. It's hard to watch the news now, man. Growing, like, having a kid, and I go, this is not what I want my kid to end up seeing. Every single day is just, this guy did this, and this murderer did this. Where is, I know this sounds, again, it goes back to sounding hippie, where is the happy news source? Where is the Fox News of great stories about a guy who saved a dog stuck in a tree? That's the story. Like, I want to read that news, but instead, everything that the mainstream media gives you it's got this negative tone to it. Everything is negative, and it's, where's the positivity, man? Yeah. There really isn't much out there. We shouldn't have to search that hard to find a positive message out there, and yet we do every single day.
There's like, I heard a TED Talk once that was really inspiring, but it was basically reassuring mankind and humanity that everything will be okay. Like, you're beautiful, life is great, things are better now than they've ever been before. Like, so when you start retelling that narrative and re-looking at what we have available to us, the technology, and like, it's not the story that the news has portrayed. Like, it's not all bad things. You don't have to like hide and be scared of one another and attack each other for differences. Like, we can, it doesn't have to be that way. Like,
no, my favorite thing, I know it'll sound kind of dumb, but one of my favorite things to watch on TV are those commercials where a soldier comes home and surprises a kid. I don't have any connection to the child, to the soldier, anything. But I watch that commercial and I cry a little bit. I go, look at that. There's just something about seeing a positive message every once in a while really does the mind good.
It'll cause you to get goosebumps. It'll cause you to break down in tears. Kind words can really move your soul. And here at Magical Butter, we try to keep pumping that positivity out to you guys. We hope y'all are feeling our conversation today. It's we got a little bit on a wavy sidetrack there, but it's all good. It's 7:10. It's a beautiful Tuesday. We're live in the Magical Butter Studios, hanging out with my boy Rob. And man, it's just been a crazy summer so far. Summer's halfway done, dude. It's like, it's flying by.
You don't have kids, but I know summer, like literally a month from now, school starts for my son. And I went, that is so weird, because I grew up in New Jersey. We didn't go back to school until
September?
Labor Day, September, right? So yeah, after Labor Day was like the first weekend of school. Or that was we knew we had to go back to school after Labor Day. And you live in Florida here. These kids go back to school August 10th. And I go, that is so early. But have you done anything? I know you just got back from Canada. Have you done anything fun this summer that you hadn't done previously?
Well, I was just up in Canada. We were up in Ottawa, and I got to go to a dam, a man-made dam, and it was basically like all these wood planks, like railroad ties. It was a real old dam, and water was protruding through, and it was like pretty intense. I got hit with all the water. And
I think I saw a picture. Was Garen there
Yeah,
too?
me and
Because I saw a
Garen.
picture of it on Facebook. Yeah.
So that was something that I got to do. I don't remember the name of the dam, unfortunately, but that was something that I got to do that I've never got to do before.
Yeah.
Really awesome experience. But also something I got to do is go. It wasn't a full-on experience, but I did scuba diving this summer
Where'd you do that at?
in my swimming pool.
Oh, cool.
In my neighborhood.
Was that for your birthday or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too on Facebook. I see a lot of your stuff on Facebook. That sounds like I stalk your Facebook.
No, I stalk you a little bit too.
Thank you.
It's not stalking. I think of it as more of like keeping up with my friends, making sure everyone's cool, and like when I see your little positive posts like that you're doing good, or you're out on the beach hanging with your fam, or your son's helping you wash your van, like puts a smile on my face.
Oh, thanks, man.
Makes
Have
me
you
feel
ever
good.
been? Because I wanted to go scuba diving, and Devil's Den, which is here in Florida. It's up
Jenny
in-
Springs, yeah.
Have you ever been there?
I've been. I haven't scuba dived there, but I have.
Pretty
swam.
though, right? Oh, so you can
Gorgeous.
swim. I thought you had to scuba dive when you went there. You can just swim through
Yeah,
it.
you could just swim. You could snorkel. The water is about 72 degrees year round, so that's pretty cold.
That's what I like about Wikiwachi, that cold water. It's a nice, refreshing dip in.
Crystal blue though, can't beat it. I love it.
How long did you scuba dive for?
About 30 minutes. It was a quick little run.
Yeah, but you got to learn. I mean, that's where you would go and learn. Now, did you get certified, or are you going to get certified? You want to do it again?
I was just getting my feet wet. I do want to do it again, and I do want to get certified. There's a lot of risks involved, and you got to make sure you know what you're doing before you just like
Grab a tank and go in.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
That's pretty cool, man.
I'm excited though, doing some fishing soon. In about a week or two, I'm going on a nice charter boat with my buddy. He's a captain and on a professional fishing team. So, gonna go try to catch some mahi.
Nice.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I see people post on Facebook because I'm friends with a lot of people who live in southern Florida, and the fish that they come back with from those deep sea trips, they're literally the size of that marlin that's on the wall.
Yeah.
Well, you can't see it on the screen.
Tarpon fishing.
Just a giant, yeah. I go, oh my God, I've never seen a catfish so big.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, I guess, Rob, you're going to be getting out of here in a few. You got to go pick up your boy.
Dude, he's done summer camp, so I got to go grab him.
That's cool. Mad love to your son. Mad love to all the kids who are enjoying summer. All the parents out there, make sure you're doing fun things with your kids. Cannabis is a way that you can feel good and connect on a higher level. MagicalButter.com, we're celebrating 7/10 Oil Day today. Make sure you check out all of our partners who are giving away Magical Butter machines at So-Called Vixen, Cash Color Cannabis, Jenny Wake and Bake, Cannabis.net, 420magazine.com, Celeb Stoner, Shop With Me Mama. Check them out. Share this video for a chance to win a Magical Butter machine. Rob, give them some wise words before you run.
Be kind to each other and cuddle with your dog if you can. It's worth it. Buy a Magical Butter machine, man. That stuff will change your life. I swear to God, it's changed mine.
Nice one. Hit them with the business. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Magical Butter Radio Show. Happy 7/10. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for our very special vegan episode of the Magical Butter Show, and have a beautiful day.